Welcome ADC readers and viewers of our YouTube channel. Today we have the pleasure of talking to the channel manager of the newly opened Mestil Hotel and Residences in Kampala. And what I can say, welcome to Kampala. You haven't been around for very long.
No.
Maybe you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself before we move on and talk about this particular property.
Well, briefly, yes, my name is Sven Saint Calbre, or Saint Calbre is the easier way to pronounce it. I'm French-American. I grew up in America.
We are not holding that against you.
No, I hope not.
No.
Neither one is very popular, so it's...
Well, the French are, I must say. You know, your new president certainly has changed the mood around the world.
Yes, but...
The other one, of course, we don't need to go into that. We all know.
I've been in Africa for the past 12 years. I've opened hotels throughout most of Africa, from Madagascar, Mozambique, South Africa, Ethiopia, Djibouti, South Sudan, Nigeria, and Morocco as well. I keep on forgetting Morocco, but that's I've been traveling quite extensively, working very closely with Chris Pollard, that you know well. He's also a close friend of mine. We've been working very closely for the past.
My readers and viewers know Chris Pollard quite well. Yes, indeed.
Chris brought me out to Africa 12 years ago in Madagascar. He was working for a sewage worker. That's how I ended up almost in Kampala.
Well, as I said, you're most welcome. You are obviously, in addition to the hotel scene, the hotel general manager scene here. Tell us a little bit about Mestil Hotel. Residences, if I got my figures right, we have 98 rooms here.
98
rooms, apartments, residences.
Suites, residences.
About 156 keys.
156
because you have
keys,
3-bedroom, 2-bedroom,
Two-bedroom,
1-bedroom, and you have rooms.
And then we have the executive suites, which are in the main building,
Yes.
where we have our lawn.
Yeah.
We have the spa and the gym, which aren't open yet. Well, the gym is open, but the spa hasn't opened yet, and that will be mid-January as well. We're launching the gym. And the other two lots will be launched in mid-January as well. Right now we're running on two entities, the main building with the lobby, the restaurant, and our food outlets, and block 4, which is our residences and our executive suites, which are in the main building.
You soft opened yesterday morning,
Yes,
and I was privileged to be actually the first guest to check in.
You are the first guest to check in.
First guest to check in. I believe I'm also the first guest to check out.
As well.
But with a smile on my face, I can assure you that already.
That's very good news for us.
This is a new concept for the Kampala market. Residences, while we do have some service departments in the city and in the suburbs, there has been nothing quite like your hotel, which not only offers rooms, well-sized rooms, I must say. Yes, you readers will all see about that on adcnews.org, but also your residences, 1-bedroom suites, 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom penthouse suites. Now, what prompted the owners to go for this concept rather than for a conventional hotel of 150 rooms at a prime location like this?
There's a demand for long stays in Kampala, people who are looking for adequate accommodation to bring their families or to enjoy a certain period away from home. It's replying to that demand of not staying in a hotel where you feel sometimes, especially a city hotel, where you lack maybe a bit of privacy and you want to feel at home. And this is why we call it what it is and why we're going in that direction of having a home away from home and where your heart is, so you feel at home at Mestil.
And of course I've seen it, I've been shown around the property. You have fully equipped kitchens, There's crockery and cutlery and glassware and toasters and microwave and fridges and deep freezers. There's basically everything there. Some have kitchen counters where you can sit on, others have dining tables. This costs quite a bit of money to put kitchen into a room and equip them like that. Clearly the owners must have market confidence at a time like this to invest clearly a very hefty sum of money in developing a property of this kind. The economy in Uganda has been a little mixed over the last 1-2 years. Oil is only starting to flow from about 2020 onwards. So what do the owners know? What do you know what I don't, what my readers and viewers don't?
That is a good question. I don't know what you don't know, that's for sure. But I think that the market was lacking this type of residence. The high standards of the building and the finishes in the rooms is also something that the market lacked in general in Kampala for this type of hotel or residence. And I think it is a growing demand as Kampala is becoming, for business and other things, more and more popular, tourism as well. There is a demand for these types of hotels, or the hybrid, hotel, compared to your usual hotel, and with all the services that come with it. I think that our positioning, where we are, what we're offering is new and is bringing competition to other people in the market. We are close to the city center, as well as having a direct access to the airport without having to go through the city center. Although we are 10 minutes from, not even from the city center, we're 5 minutes on a day when there's no traffic. After rush hour, we're not far from some prominent embassies that also be driving business our way. So I think that the whole positioning of where we are, there's a new mall coming up that will be built next door, which will be probably one of the biggest malls in Kampala, from my understanding. There's other projects around in the general, so it's a developing general area where this product here, or this hotel, Mestil, will be the first here, so we have that advantage, and we have everything that it needs to succeed.
Now, you have opened hotels before. You mentioned you were 12 years right across Africa. You've done hotel openings left, right, and center. What different challenges do you find here in Uganda? It's the first time you're here in this country. You visited before, but this is the first time you're actually actively working in a hotel. What were the special challenges, and how do you find, you're here now, what, for 3-4 weeks?
3 weeks now.
3 weeks. How do you find the staff you found at the hotel? How do they respond to the vision you brought with you for this hotel?
It's all been very positive. All the staff here have been very positive, friendly, and they're, as most of them don't come from the hotel background, so we're training them, bringing them up to standards, which takes a bit more time, but they have more passion about it. They're not used to certain habits that you might find in other places, so it makes it a lot easier for myself and the heads of departments to have the staff we want adapted to what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to get. The obstacles are always, as in many African countries or landlocked countries in general, is supplies and getting wines or other things that you want, glasses or cutlery or anything that is a bit difficult to get in Kampala. The rest has been actually, it's one of the easiest openings I've done.
It was. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that is a compliment to Uganda and to Kampala.
Well, it's a compliment to were here before me in June, and builders and the owners who worked hard to get it open.
Create a good platform for you.
Create a good platform, and I think it is the standards that in Kampala that were done by the contracting company and the architects, I've rarely seen in Africa. A lot of the hotels that I've opened have been built by local companies, but where the standards are not necessarily what you need, and you find yourself with a product that is not always finished correctly. The last hotel that was as high a standard was in Madagascar, built by Italians, in Shadow. So since then, this is the first that I've seen extremely well built, and the finishings and everything almost perfect. It's everywhere. You can always find faults, but there are very few here.
You sound very satisfied after 3 weeks already. It sounds almost like you are enjoying a walk into park.
Comparatively, yes. As I said, this has been one of the easiest openings because everything was
well prepared.
And as I said, June was on the ground, been on the ground for 3 months, and has done a fantastic job getting it where it needs to be. It made my arrival and my job much easier to open. And yes, you do find the builders are still here, the contractors are still here. So it was communication flowed through quickly, things that needed to be done got done, and you're not chasing or running around. And in general, everything is easily found in Kampala.
Well, I guess you wanted to be open because then that gave you precisely 2 weeks to Christmas, and the festive season in Kampala, starting from Christmas Eve to New Year's Day, is normally quite a busy part of the year as far as functions and food and beverage is concerned. You did mention, or we did say, this is a soft opening. You mentioned to me earlier that the remaining 2 accommodation blocks should be ready by middle of January, fingers crossed. And then you look at an official opening when everything is really ready. How long do you think will that take? 3 months, 4 months?
No, I think it'll be a lot quicker. I think we're looking at an official opening for end of January, early February at the latest, once everyone is back from
well timed, when you know exactly that I'll be away.
Well, maybe we'll wait for your return then.
Okay.
So it'll be a couple months.
Yes, well, it would be the end of February. But when you reach that point, that everything is functional, everything works the way it should, where do you want to take this hotel over the next 1, 2, 3 years?
I want to take it to be the best hotel in Kampala. I want Mestil to be, and I want to, not personally, but I think everyone who's working here wants it to be recognized as fleuron, let's say in French, as the best hotel, whether it's on the services or the product itself or the amenities that we offer. And that's our ambition. And I'm sure that I'm quite very
well, from the room product, I know you will not find it too difficult to overtake most of the existing hotels. I'm saying most because there are obviously 1 or 2 which are way ahead of the pack, so you will have quite some catch-up to do. Food and beverage, of course, is another thing altogether. You being French, see, I left out, when I talk about food, I leave out the American part of it, the French. So obviously, it is hoped that you can influence the culinary offerings here in this hotel. But you only have, I think, 2 F&B outlets. One is the Amber restaurant, where we are seated right now, the outdoor section. You're presently offering breakfast buffets, lunch buffets, and dinner buffets. You got the a la carte menu yesterday, and you have a pool bar, where a kitchen is being installed right now, so that will be obviously a snack menu.
Snack menu, pizzas, pastas.
Things like that. So with one restaurant, this would be less than ideal when it has to match you wanting to be the best hotel Kampala, because you know some of these other hotels obviously have 2, 3, or 4 restaurants where their guests can choose from. So you do see a challenge, I'm sure.
I do see the
on
challenge,
horizon.
but the advantage is when you have 2 or 3 or 4 outlets,
Yeah.
you can never be perfect and the best in any of them. When you have 1 outlet, you can make it the best. It's much easier, in my opinion. And I find having 1 restaurant much easier to get the best service, to be able to produce the best food, because you're not worried about all your different outlets and serving not necessarily, like in a lot of places you have your Italian outlet, you will have your fine dining, you will have all these different outlets, and some of them are very good, others are middle of the road. With 1 outlet, well, 1 main restaurant, you can concentrate on making it the best and having the best offering around. Very fortunate, we're very fortunate in this deal to have a fantastic executive chef, South African, who's worked quite a few
We'll be
years.
speaking to him a little
He
later.
will be, but
Yeah.
I'm just reminding you that none of this is possible
Yeah.
without having the right people in the key positions. And we are fortunate to have our executive chef.
When you said you want to turn this hotel into the best in Kampala, obviously I saw your smile, and the smile widened to a laugh, really. I'm sure you had a look at your competition. What is your personal assessment? I mean, you've been here on hotel business before, just not working. You mentioned Chris Pollard when he was at the Sheraton Kampala. You were working, I believe, at the same time at the same hotel group. What is your assessment of the level of, in international comparison, the level of hospitality offerings in Kampala, and if you have an insight up country? I'm sure you've traveled around a little bit this time on previous visits. Where do you see Uganda stand when it comes to the hospitality industry?
Actually, I think it's one of the best in Africa when it comes to hotel accommodation standards. Services maybe not always perfect, but that's everywhere in the world. But in general, I think Uganda is extremely fortunate, and it has done very well. And having worked in developing countries or countries that have more of a hospitality background to them, where you find that actually it's much better in Uganda than in these certain areas, like Madagascar, or criticizing different countries. Uganda is very fortunate to have quality hotels, international brands that are here.
Skilled staff?
Yes, and having had international brands for many years, and having staff that are well trained, and that is a great benefit compared to surrounding other countries around.
Pre-opening, of course, is a busy period, and you don't have a lot of free time. But during your previous visits, I believe you traveled around the country a bit. How do you see Uganda as a tourism destination on the East African, on the African map, and in global terms? I'm sure you know that CNN has in the past said Kidepo National Park is the best in the country, and we've got Lonely Planet, mentions, and a number of other awards and recognitions as a destination. Does Uganda have what it takes to become a leading tourism destination on this continent?
I think it does. I think it has much more than what it takes comparatively to other countries. There's beautiful parks, Lake Victoria, the Nile River. We have everything here on the equator. We've got, what else would you want? You can go and see the gorillas.
Snow in the mountains?
Snow in the mountains, the gorillas, Murchison Park, Victoria Lake, safaris. Everything is here. Beautiful city, beautiful capital city, and beautiful surrounding areas. It has everything that it takes to be a leading destination.
And now, of course, the Mestil Hotel is here, and that, I'm sure you will agree with me, should be the icing on the cake.
Of course.
Sven, thank you for the time. Thank you for talking to us.
Pleasure.
And I wish you and your team the very best as you move towards the official opening and put the final touches on the hotel. And I look forward coming back in a couple of weeks or months and see how from opening day it has shaped up, because this place surely reminds me of how good wine matures. Thank you.
We look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.